More than 300 Gazans have been killed while much of the world looks on. Is Israel winning the support and understanding of the international community, or is a blind eye being turned in the hope of finishing Hamas? We examine the world reaction to the attacks on Gaza. This is Inside Story. Hello, I'm Nick Clark. Tens of thousands took to the streets in Arab capitals to express anger at Israel's air raids on the Hamas-controlled Gaza Strip. Protesters burned Israeli and American flags in a string of Arab cities and demanded a stronger response from their leaders to what they called Israel's aggression. They accused their own governments of looking the other way while people die in Gaza.
Diplomatic relations with Israel must be severed. The Israeli embassy here closed down. Rafah crossing must be opened. This is the way Mauritanian people rise in support of the Palestinians.
We call on the leadership of Mauritania, if they come to office, to fulfill people's wishes, to expel the Israeli ambassador and to sever relations with the Zionist entity.
Massacres taking place in Gaza are a great sin. We have nothing to sacrifice for the Palestinians. We want to donate our blood to them.
We wonder where the chivalry we, the Egyptians, are known for. Where is our pride? Where is our dignity? We have lost them all.
The sweeping outrage we see in the streets is a proof that many of the Arab heads of state are conspiring with Israel. They colluded with Israel and betrayed the Gazans and Hamas by claiming that Israel would not strike them.
Well, we're going to have a good look at this today, and joining our discussion are our guests in Cairo, Hassan Issa, Egypt's former ambassador to Israel and the former director of the Israeli file in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. In Damascus, Dr. Samer Al-Taki, director of the Orient Center for International Studies. And in Toronto, Robert Fisk, the Middle East correspondent for the independent newspaper in the UK. Dr. Al-Taki, if I could start with you. Egypt has been the so-called mediator between Israel and Hamas. Could Egypt have done more to stop this attack on Gaza happening, do you think?
Yes, I think it could have done much more. I think Egypt did not make any pressure on the Israelis. Practically did not allow any real pressure, especially regarding the potential opening of the Rafah cross-border. I think that Egypt was not able to mediate. Practically, at the end of the game, it was accusing Hamas of not cooperating. Subsequently, it was a complete failure from one side. From the other side, Egypt was trying to just monopolize the process and prevent any other Arab country. Even Qatar had tried at certain moments to try to intervene, to try to mediate between the Palestinians and to try to solve the problem of Gaza. And practically,
can I bring in Ambassador Hassan Issa there in Cairo? It's fair to say that Egypt and its Arab allies have good reasons for keeping Gaza and Hamas isolated.
This is not true. First, I've heard my colleague here talking. First, it was Hamas that called on us to intervene, to intermediate between her and Israel, which we did. It was Hamas that asked for a period of quiet. It was Hamas that was making sure to keep this period of quiet. And we all know that its executive force was chasing other members of other factions, trying to throw rockets out of Gaza into Israel. And it was Hamas that put an end to this period of quiet. We have no interest in supporting one faction against the other. We were dealing with both on equal basis. What we want is the Palestinian good, and this is what we have been trying for the last 2 or 3 years.
So, Dr. Al-Taki, looking for the general good for all.
Yes, I understand that Hamas would be really seeking a kind of an appeasement from any side that would come. But the problem was not only about the ceasefire. The problem was mainly about the siege around Gaza. Practically, Gaza, since 1.5 years, didn't get more than 15% of its normal minimum needs. So practically, the problem is not only the problem of the rockets, it's not the problem of the appeasement, it's about treating and really punishing 1.5 million of Palestinians, while they are kidnapped by the international situation, where they are closed in a confined place. They cannot travel, they cannot go out, they cannot get their essential basic needs. And this is the problem. The problem is not about the rockets. It's not about any violence. Violence is initiated by starvation, and the Palestinians were facing a choice between either dying through the Israeli guns, or by the Israeli guns, or to die by starvation.
Well, Robert Fisk, if I could bring you in there. I mean, you've covered the region for many, many years, and lots of fingers pointing at certain Arab governments. I saw one banner which read, "Arab silence did this." To what degree do you think that's right?
Well, you know, we live in a Middle East, although I'm on the opposite side of the world at the moment, where most of the Middle East dictators are still funded economically and, of course, militarily by the West, and therefore they keep their mouths shut, or largely shut, and the Arab people know this. They live in dictatorships which are run by people who are paid by us in the West, and our satraps in the region will keep their mouths largely shut because they know that we can withdraw money or weapons from them if they don't. That is the irony and the tragedy of the Middle East, that the leaders of the Arab world do not speak for their people, and we want it that way in the West. And we realize that, and believe me, in the State Department, the Pentagon, the White House, in Downing Street, the leaders of the two countries which have not demanded a ceasefire, which have not demanded an end to the Israeli airstrikes, are very happy with that situation. I'm very struck, being in North America at the moment, at how little anyone seems to understand what's going on in Gaza. Nobody in any of the coverage, and I think my two colleagues on this program would agree, in none of the coverage has it been explained in the West, for example, what Gaza is. Why are there Palestinians in Gaza? Amazingly enough, no one here has explained that the Hamas rockets, and by the way, I regard Hamas as a very cynical and politically abusive organization, the Hamas rockets are falling and exploding in fields that actually legally, under the British mandate, belong to refugees who are in Gaza. This was an extraordinary part of the story, if you like, which in any other major conflict, reporters would be putting into paragraph 3, but it's been delineated. It's as if the whole of the West, let alone the Arab leadership, has snapped off Palestinian history and thrown it away, and it all began yesterday, or on Saturday, or on Friday, or with the end of the Hamas ceasefire.
And it's interesting to see, isn't it, that an emergency Arab summit has been called, but not everybody wants to attend. What hope is there of resolving this if the big players like Egypt are not prepared to talk, Ambassador Hassan Issa?
Big players like Egypt are not prepared to talk? Is that what you said, sir?
Well, if you're not prepared to attend this emergency Arab summit.
Who said we're not prepared to?
Well, are you prepared to attend it?
There has been an official statement saying that if the Arab world, if the Arab leaders are coming, we are going to attend. We have no reason at all not to attend. As a matter of fact, I want to reiterate again, we were the ones who were involved in this problem since the beginning. We were the ones who mediated between the Palestinians themselves and the Palestinians and the Israelis. We have been the ones who have borne on our shoulders all the problems that resulted from Hamas takeover. We were the ones who are concerned about this problem all the time. So why shouldn't we attend a summit meeting? We'll attend the summit meeting, we'll meet with anybody if this is going to solve the problem.
Okay, well, some are saying, of course, that Egypt are at fault because it's kept the Rafah crossing closed, and in that sense, it's complicit with Israel in shutting down the Gaza Strip.
So why do we keep on raising this issue of the Rafah thing? Whereas we are having 3 crossings that nobody mentions. We have Kerem Shalom, we have Nahal Oz, we have Eretz. These 3 crossings with the Israelis, they are closed. Nobody mentions this. Second, when we talk about the situation now in Gaza, everybody talks about the Rafah crossing as if the Rafah crossing is the responsible for all, excuse me, for all what's happening. Rafah crossing, as we know, is governed by this tripartite agreement between the European Union, Israel, and the Palestinian Authority. They are the ones concerned. We are not part of this agreement. We never said a word on this agreement. It's their business. Let them solve this problem, and we are ready. But nevertheless, in spite of this situation, we always open our borders whenever there is a humanitarian situation. We open our borders. The thing is that when we opened our borders for ladies and men who were going for Hajj across our border. We kept our borders open for 4 days, whereas Hamas was the one that stopped them. So please, nobody blames Egypt for closing the border or for the siege of Gaza. The siege of Gaza has nothing to do with Egypt or with the borders of Rafah.
All right, we're going to take a short break now, and indeed we're going to say goodbye to Ambassador Hassan Isa for the time being. But thanks very much indeed for your time and your perspective on this. Plenty more, of course, when we come back. Specifically, is international pressure on Israel to stop the attacks producing any results? Stay with us.